All right. Okay, we're going to call the Star City Council meeting to order. It's Tuesday, August 4th, 2020 at 7 p.m. I'd like to have everybody stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance with me, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman Hershey,
Here.
Councilman Keys,
Here.
Councilwoman Solmonson. Here.
And Councilman Nielsen will be absent. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, so moved. Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries. Entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Keys.
you make a motion to approve the consent agenda consisting of items 4A, claims against the city for July 2020, and item 4B, regular meeting minutes of June 2nd, 2020.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that motion carries. On to item 5A, presentation and public input. We'll start out with the Southwest Idaho Business Alliance presentation to the City of Star. And who's talking? You're talking? Matt's talking? You want to chat in the mic there? Do you want me to come down or you just?
Sure, you can come on down.
Huh?
You can come on down. Surprised you can move after that big fried steak, though. Good evening, Mike Olson, 12405 West Hidden Point Drive here in Star. I am the founding member and president of the Southwest Idaho Business Alliance. I appreciate you getting us on the agenda for tonight. It's only been 15 months, so we're doing pretty damn good. So we're here to present a small donation to the City of Star. Some money that we raised last year to be used towards the purchase of adaptive needs play equipment. About that time, several of us were involved with Looking Glass Academy through the Central District Health Department. We took a good look at what we can do to make our park system a little bit more inclusive for youngsters and older people that have adaptive needs. So we did a fundraiser, raised some money. I'm gonna let Matt Rasper talk briefly about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt Rasper, 457 North Mira, Star, Idaho. I think with the Southwest Idaho Business Alliance, it's just something that I got involved with, obviously with Mike, maybe 2 or 3 years ago at this point, and it's just been something that I've really enjoyed being a part of, whether it be the Saturday markets, whether it be partnering with nonprofit organizations, but also just for these sorts of moments to be able to actually hand over something to who we raise money for, specifically special needs children, for the city to hopefully get some adaptive needs play equipment at Blake Park. And so it's just, I think it just goes to show the power of community here that we have, also the power of the community that we have in the Treasure Valley as well. All the vendors that were there and able to contribute. I think it was something very, very special that we don't always see, and something that is unique to this community, that we can come together and we can actually do something quite phenomenal. So we also Sean Nickel, who's not here right now, we owe a huge debt of gratitude to him for kind of helping us with this event as well. And we just want to continue to kind of help this community grow and help this Treasure Valley as a whole grow as a business community and as one of the most livable areas in the Treasure Valley and in the United States. So on behalf of Southwest Idaho Business Alliance, we would like to. Yeah, absolutely. So we actually, this was a cornhole tournament that we hosted last year, and it was a phenomenal event. We found something that worked really well, and we've tried to employ that over and over and over again this year. And obviously, this is a check for $1,500. This year, we've raised almost $5,500 for, and $1,400 of those dollars going towards Officer Brandon Austin and Eagle, but also the remainder of those dollars going to the City of Star's food bank outreach, our current charitable nonprofit partner. So we're just excited to continue that process and continue with the charitable outreach that we can have here, but also in the Treasure Valley as well. Did I miss anything? Awesome.
Absolutely. Council people have any desire to come down?
Thank you. Well, that was cool. Thank you to the Southwest Idaho Business Alliance for the check. We'll definitely will use it to enhance the special needs playground equipment.
May I
that
make
we
a
have.
comment, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, you can.
Oh, I just wanted to thank them as well. And also, not only have I learned that I am no good at cornhole, and it would not have been for you all that I did not learn that about myself, but also the fact that you pick and support things that are very close to the city and me personally, being with the food bank with Matt as well. You've brought a light to the food bank that I think wasn't there. A lot of people don't think about it, but also a lot of people want to donate to it. I've noticed our donations are going up, and I think in part it's because of the exposure that SWIDBA has been giving us. And I'm glad food bank was selected this year, and I look forward to see who you select next year to support. I think that's going above and beyond what your initial mission was, and it's really showing. I just wanted to thank you personally.
Thank you, Councilman Hershey. All right, we'll move on to committee reports. Matt, are you gonna give our report? You're right back up. Okay.
Put on my other hat. All right. Thank you so much, Mayor and Council. Just a brief committee report for the Pathways and Beautification Committee. First off, I want to say a public thank you to Jennifer. Having you as our liaison has been outstanding. Your help with ideas going forward, your help with putting things together, and making sure that I'm having legal meetings is a huge help. So thank you publicly. The committee enjoys it. So you deserve a round of applause on that. Thank you very much. So a couple points of interest that I just wanted to talk about real quick. I had spoke with you, Mr. Mayor, regarding the dog park, and that had been going out for some bid information, and we're excited. The committee continues to hold excitement. I will also report to you today that the public continues to hold excitement regarding the dog park. There are remarks everywhere. I continue to receive emails about the dog park and asking when it will be done, when it will be ready. And I just continue to say, it's like, it's going to be a while. And that's the way it's going to be right now. So we look forward to having it. A lot of folks are continuing to really want that. And we're excited to have been a small part of that production. The next bit I have to talk about is the utility box display that we had started to work on, which was a recommendation that came down from Jennifer, kind of following some other cities that they have beautiful murals on, except Boise. They don't have very good murals. But some other cities have really nice murals on their utility boxes. And we were originally planning on reaching out to the elementary school, but with the shutdowns, we weren't able to do that. So that project currently has been tabled until a further date, and still is coming along. The next bit of information is we have kind of adjusted the way we've been doing the quarterly service award recognition. And what we wanted to do is kind of open it up for, in the past, it had generally been kind of just a committee item, but now we wanted to open it up to more of a community item. And that being said, we have developed a document. I've developed a document and sent that out to the committee for approval, which is just a nomination sheet. And we want to hear, I want to be flooded. I want to have too many, because generally it's between 1 and 2 folks. And I want to have too many to select from. And so we've got that going. We will have that rolling in the next meeting, and hopefully a more detailed report for you on the 18th.
So is it possible to have that on the 18th so we can post it on our website?
I think so. I think we have no problem confirming and approving that document on the 12th. So far it's really been kind of a hot button item in our committee. Everyone's really excited about it. And so it should be able to be posted on the website. And again, it was something I had put together and sent out. And so far the committee has sent me back good feedback on it. So it's looking like it would be a really great thing for the city and the community. The next is, so far, any other questions on that, by the way? So far, we are still planning on doing our 3rd annual Make Star Shine. It's still on despite COVID, I think. And so it's kind of just going to be at the discretion of the committee at this point, whether or not we can gather enough folks to come do it. Obviously, we would exercise caution, social distancing, and the like. should we decide to proceed with that. But we will definitely see. In the meantime, though, Make Star Shine is still going to be a thing. We want to make sure that we're helping older folks in our community with some chores around their house during the holiday time. And of course, we want the council to be a team to rake up some leaves, if you know what I mean. Going a little further, that being said, it's the priority of our committee to really, and brought to our attention by our liaison, to really see the City of Star's pathways connected. So that's really going to be our next major priority, is working to find a way to see our community connected through all of its pathways, because there are so many right now that aren't really connected, and we want to see them all come together in a way that is ADA compliant, and also so everybody can get where they're trying to go by bicycle, by scooter, or even just basic walking. Additionally, we want to see the other project that I think is a little further out, is we're working on a development guideline, a beautification development guideline that we'll send you. Other cities, you had sent me one about Cheyenne, Wyoming, that has a really great one. There's another, Hillsborough, California has a really great one. I found another one actually from my kid that has a really, really interesting concept, but just kind of a guideline, no sort of like hard change in comprehensive plans, but just an actual guideline for developers to plant different types of trees, do different types of artwork. And I'm developing that right now. And obviously we'll take the same approach to that as we are with the nomination forms. So any questions?
No, do you have more to present? Because I have two comments.
No more to present. Thank you.
Okay. So on the dog park thing, it's under design right now, and we're utilizing the designs that the committee put together for that. The dog park, we have that $5,000 grant
Yes.
from the Realtors Association, right? And that was extended all the way into October
Great.
by them, just so you guys are aware. So we can purchase those items in September, and it's $5,000. I don't know if I said that, but it's $5,000. So we can get some of those items and get the grant to pay for some of those dog park items there. But I'm hoping that we're going to have a plan that we all can review in place here pretty quick.
Good.
So we can get that out to bid as well.
Awesome.
So, and that's to go in conjunction with the Pavilion Park
Sweet.
and roll it into this next budget cycle. So, okay.
Okay.
And then, I said two things, right?
Yes, you
And-
did. I was like,
sorry,
oh,
sorry, I forgot about that.
What's he
The
got?
second thing is in our comprehensive plan,
Yeah.
it talks about a interconnected network of
Sweet.
pathways having a design. So that's one thing I was going to bring up to you guys in your committee tonight, that we need to really start working on that and putting that together. And we can identify the gaps. We can identify if we need to try to work with our irrigation partners, if we can utilize any of their rights of way for this. But it's something I think that's really important, especially when we start working on the park down here at 960 Main with all the
Yeah.
pathways and have it all interconnect together, right?
Yes.
And when we start working on the south of the river, planning area, right, sub-plan area, because that's going to be all interconnected as well. So I think that's an
Awesome.
important thing for you guys to work on. So thank you guys for your time. on it today.
Absolutely.
So,
Happy to give it. Thank you all very much.
all right.
Thank you.
So good. Go ahead. Oh, I thought you said some. So the activities committee, I told Dana not to worry about coming here. We canceled the hometown celebration on August 22nd. I wrote up a letter and it was posted. And there's 6 reasons why we did that. And people have been pretty understanding with it. And I understand the frustration. I get it, but we gotta do what we gotta do to try to get these kids back in school and protect our businesses and stuff that are around here. And that brings in a lot of people from all over. So, and it looks like, do we have anybody else? I don't think we have any other committees here right now.
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, go ahead.
if I can give a brief report for the Transportation Committee.
Okay, got it.
The committee's been involved in attending, the designated member's been attending meetings for the CICAC, which is the Capital Improvement Citizens Advisory Committee. And for those who may not know, that's the committee that advises the ACHD commissioners on how to spend their impact fee dollars. It's a committee that's been around since 1991. STAR started participating in 2020 for
Thanks,
the very
Michael.
first time. Let's see, the committee is also involved with working with Canyon Highway District number 4. They're going through the process to implement impact fees on the Canyon County side of our city. We expect to see that implemented sometime around the first of the calendar year. And the committee also right now is undergoing a review of the integrated 5-year work plan draft document that ACHD sent to the city and asked for our input before the final version is due here, I think in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So that's my brief report. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Do we have anybody signed up on the public input? On just general public input? Okay. Oh, you'll be back on the next one. All right. It should be yeah, you could give me both of those, Barbara.
Denise Van Doren, 11071 West Frost Street. First of all, I just wanted to let you all know that I really appreciate, I'm sure a lot of people do, the efforts that you all have been putting in to get STAR on track. It's apparent there's been a lot of dedication and commitment, and STAR, it badly needed in STAR. And so I just wanted to say that it's appreciated, it really is. Oh, am I not talking loud enough?
No, I actually, I moved that this week because we were having
Oh,
issues.
it says speak into the mic.
You can
Okay.
pull it down if you want.
There we go. Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. Well, I just said something really nice.
No,
Did you
you
hear
probably
me?
got committed. It went through.
Anyway. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to ask about is the Heron River property.
Mhm.
So what's the status on that? I know that that is going to be or has been deeded to the city. Where are we at on that?
It has not been deeded yet. The goal and plan is hopefully by next summer to have that deeded to the city with a plan in place on what we're going to do with it.
Okay, so the city though isn't doing anything.
Not on it right now, no.
No, okay,
Not at all.
and the plan would not to be do anything until it's actually
Correct.
dated.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, and just on that note too, I think that the River House, that whole project down there is fabulous. So I'm really, really happy that you're moving forward on that.
Thank you.
So that's it.
All right. All right. Anybody else have any public comments that they want to say outside the budget hearing? No? All right. Thank you. We'll pass that over to. All right. So we're going to move on to item 6A. Thank you. Guys, appreciate it. Public hearing for the 2021 budget. So that will be me presenting to you guys. And there is, for everybody that is sitting here, I actually have I'll speak into the mic.
Only have 3 minutes at that, Mike. Just let me know.
There's actually a copy of the budget over there, if you guys would like a copy of it on what we're going to be talking about tonight. It was in the packet. I just made it a little more, a little easier to read on there. So, you guys know I like to talk. So I did a PowerPoint. It's like 44 slides, but we're not going to go through it's going to be pretty quick, and we'll just discuss some of these items, and then we'll have people come up here and speak to the budget and ask questions and whatnot. Everybody up here wanted a frozen water bottle to throw at me if I went too long on there. So we're going to talk about 3 items on here: our savings account, our revenue, and our expenses. Right now in our savings account, currently there's $3.6 million in that savings account. We also have a park impact fee savings account that has 1.3 million in it. And then we have a beautiful check coming back from the fire department that's $1.855 million from when we helped them purchase that building down there. Part of tonight, after the hearing, there's a quick claim deed that these councilmen and women have to approve tonight, so I can sign it, and we'll get the check this week on there. Our projected savings from the 2019-2020 budget year, we're probably going to throw 300,000 plus into our savings account. So total in reserves, not including the park impact fees, is going to be $5.8 million plus in our reserve account, which is really good for a city of Star. On revenues, we have 13 different revenue sections. If you guys notice, if you've been a part of the budget hearings in the past, it was pretty bland, right? This year, we've actually, and you'll see it, we broke out our budget so departments are more responsible for their budgets and we can dial it in where we're actually spending and we're not spending. And actually the employees are excited. They actually enjoy it. I sat down with each one of the departments and went over their budgets with them, had them break it down and explain their expenses and their income on there. So we'll talk about a couple of them. Well, I'll show you all of them, but property tax this year, the 2021 proposed property tax is 1.483 million. Right now, our property tax is 24% of the City of Star's budget income. Okay. The rest of our budget income, we'll talk about here as we go through it. We will not be taking the 3% increase this year, and we were not going to add the 3% to the foregone. That's an option that's new this year, is to allow us to waive any money going into that foregone. I can't say it's an account, but a foregone ledger, I guess, for lack of a better term. But we will be taking a new construction rolls on that, which is the new construction paying for growth as we move forward. And that's the difference in between last year's number that you see on that sheet and this year's number. Property taxes in Star, just so everybody can see this. I took a property right here and looked at the property tax and broke it down. For this property here, the total tax for property tax is $2,784. The City of Star's portion is 12.28% or $341. It just kind of puts it in perspective that we're just one piece of the pie. We're just 12% of the pie here in the City of Star of our total property tax on there. If you look at West Ada County and Star Fire are above us, and then you have some mosquito abatement, which we've seen them a lot this year, it seems like. And I see comments where people are like, what is this spray going on out there? It's our mosquito abatement. Here's the copy of the resolution that the council has to approve tonight. If they choose to approve it, that will put $0 into our foregone. And you can see right here, it says $0 right there. Sales and use tax, it's also known as revenue sharing. It's a state revenue sharing formula. We're going to have, these numbers are provided to us by the Association of Idaho Cities. So $656,000 is the state revenue sharing. They combine this year with sales tax. So before you would see sales tax, revenue sharing, they combine that together this year. There's also a liquor revenue section of $93,320. That might be just a little heavy, but they are starting to take magistrate court fees out of the liquor revenue here in the state of Idaho. So that can adjust up and down a little bit based on that. So those total sales and use tax dollars that we're projecting to get is $749,000. And that's coming straight from the state. And they're provided to all the cities early in our budgeting process. Okay. Franchise revenue. This is an interesting one here. So we get franchise revenue from several of our utilities. Idaho Power, we get 1% of their revenues at $47,000. Cable One, 2% of their revenues at $7,296. Intermountain Gas at 3% at $82,210, and Republic Services at 8%, which would be around $90,000. Now, of course, that adjusts obviously by population. If your population increases, you're going to get more, and there as houses come online. So our total franchise revenue we're going to get is $226,600. The percentages that are listed there are due to the city per state statute can be no more than 3% unless a previous agreement was in place. And so obviously we had a previous agreement in place with our trash services of 8%. So that's quite a healthy chunk right there. So that's $226,000 that we get back from paying our bill to these utilities, right? General licenses, we just have dog license, vendor licenses, alcohol beverage licenses, park reservations and rentals. It amounts to about $13,755. Scholarships, we do get donations into the scholarship fund, which is about $2,500 is what we're expecting to get. And some of these funds are funds raised by the Stars Mayor's Youth Council. So they've been actually pretty active at these markets that's been going on. They try to raise money by selling vegetables from a garden they planted. My wife made about 36 jars of blackberry jam that she's given to them to sell at the next one. So, you know, they're doing everything they can to raise money for these scholarships. The hometown celebration raises about $12,000 is what we're expecting. Obviously, we're not doing that this current fiscal year, but we're expecting it next fiscal year, and it may be a really big one, depending on how eager everybody is to celebrate, right? Park grants. So we're anticipated to get more grants. We apply for them and try to receive them for the development and improvement of our parks, but we're also going to look at other grants to benefit the city as they become available through Compass. It could be for a number of things, right? It could be sidewalks, it could be park improvements, it could be building improvements, whatnot. But Compass is out there and they'll help us look at those grants. Court fines, simple as that. $7,500 is what we're expecting to get from our court fine share from the county. Building revenue. This one, we've been under planning for a couple of years, it seems like, in our budget. So we're trying to bring this this number up to reality. Building revenue comes from building plan review and inspections. So there's $700,000 we're expecting to receive from that. And our electrical, plumbing, mechanical, each one of those functions, we expect to receive about $95,000, and in reinspection fees about $10,000. So an overall total building revenue of $995,000 every year. Between 40 and 60% of this revenue is a pass-through as expense, and I'll show you that here as we get there to the expense side. Okay. Impact fee and proportionate shares. So every house that's built here in Star gets charged an impact fee of several varieties. We have a park impact fee, which is $2,050 per unit. And we're basing our numbers on 275 building permits this year. Usually we've been basing them off of 250 building permits, but the nature of our political climate and that of other areas' political climates is starting to drive more people to our valley. This year, right now, we're at 360 building permits already issued. But with COVID, it's hard to say what's going to happen truly here in the next year, right? So we're going to run right around 275 permits. So that gives us $563,000 in park impact fee money. ACHD impact fees is $3,019 per unit. Commercial impact fees have a different figure. So that gets collected, but it's not included in this number because it's hard to say depending on the type of commercial that we get. So that $830,225 is a straight pass through. So what we collect, we give straight to ACHD, okay? Star Fire Department impact fees. This is something that we approved, when we approved that a year ago? Last year, I think it was, right? Year and a half, that's been that long, year and a half ago. It's $809 per unit, which equates to about $222,000. We do keep $20 with the Star impact fees for every permit that's issued as a administration fee. So you'll see that a different number when we get to the budget, or I'm sorry, to the expense side of the budget. The ITD proportionate share is something new that we started this year. We have over $1 million already committed to this fund, but the timing of that money coming in is all going to be based on the phases of those projects. So we're anticipating we're probably going to see about 100,000 of that go into this fund this year, and it's going to be put in a separate savings account within the city. And we hold on to that money to be used by ITD for projects within the city of Star. So our total impact fee proportionate share is $1.716 million. ACHD, Star Fire, and ITD are pass-through incomes. So we truly don't see income except for that $20 I was talking about per permit from Star Fire. Land use revenue. These are zoning administration fees. Revenue collected for processing the various land use applications, about $65,000. Bonding is so different. We're not sure where that's going to go exactly for the bonding. And that's going to be a pass through the bonding because unless they don't, we allow people to bond for landscaping, for street lights, things like that, if they have to, depending on the time of the year. If they perform, they get their bond back. If they don't, then we can exercise that bond and use it to complete that project. But when we change our new code, it's changing some of the bonding requirements on there. So we're not quite sure where that number is really going to fall this year. So the total land use revenue we're expecting is about $66,000 plus. On the recreation side, this is where Kim and Ron really got excited because they were able to sit down and break all their stuff down like they haven't had to do in the past. The sports programs, which is Ron's, which includes all of our baseball, football, soccer, all the different sports programs. We expect revenues in about $63,950. Now, with that said, COVID's going to create some challenges because we don't know what parents are going to do with their kids or if we're going to be able to have some of these athletics out there. But we're going to plan for having a full season this next year, hopefully. Classes and activities and programs is Kim's, and it's about $30,545. So the total recreation income should be about $94,495. On our general revenue, we have some interest and donations. Those are always unknown. So we put fillers in there of $1,000 in those, and those are probably going to go up higher than that with the donations. We have miscellaneous income of $1,000, and then we have a COVID-19 line we put this year. The City of Star has allocated about $300,000 to the CARES Fund Act. So we should between March and December of this year. So we'll see some income come in for some of the expenses that we had for COVID after October 1. So that's going to go into this section here. Unrestricted funds, the general funds of $400,000 are funds that we transfer into our account to utilize at the beginning of the budget year so we could pay our bills until this tax money and all that starts coming in. The transfer from the Park Impact Fee Fund, we're bringing money in this year from a Park Impact Fee Fund in conjunction with the Park Impact fees that are collected to pay for some projects that we'll talk about here on the expense side. I gotta get a drink. I think that was mine, right? I didn't take yours. Okay. So now we got a total revenues of $6,092,675 for our budget. On the expense side, you can see all the different expenses on here. On the personnel side, you can see that we spend, we have executive, we have a part-time Air Force City Council members, we have a clerk, deputy clerk, and receptionist secretary. We have a zoning administrator. We're hiring for a planner too. And we have a building clerk, and we utilize temporary help. On the recreation side, we have the sports coordinator, recreation coordinator, and seasonal help. Building and grounds maintenance, we have a superintendent, 2 building and grounds maintenance personnel, and seasonal help as necessary. Then we have employees costs as well, which includes your FICA, Medicare, workman's comp, retirement, health insurance, HR adjustments, and training. So the total personnel costs for our city right now are $1,037,518 on the expense side. Banks and service charges, about $500. Total grant expense should be an in and out, right? We get a grant, the whole grant should go into the expense of the project. So it's gonna be $10,000. And student scholarships, we put $25,000 in there every year for our student scholarships. So we give up to a $1,500 scholarship for a graduating star senior to be either used for a school or a university or a trade school. This year, I think we had 7 award winnings this year, which amounted to about $9,000. And that's something we're working with. It's not really well known for whatever reason in our city that we have this. And I can't quite figure this out, but the student body president for Eagle High School this year is actually a senior from the City of Star. So she's going to start talking to some of the seniors there about applying for these scholarships with the City of Star. So on the legal side, we have the city attorney costs, $45,000. That's contracted in an appointed position. We have outside legal fees, additional legal assistance in case of lawsuits, et cetera, that costs about $10,000. And then we pay the prosecuting attorney in Ada County about $30,900. So our total legal fees are $85,900. We have general office expenses, which are like supplies and postage, promotions, advertising, publications for all the public hearings, resource materials that we may need, notary bonds, safe deposit box for a total general office expense budget of $43,332. In the past, we've only had 2 notaries. We're going to have 4 on staff so we can get stuff notarized for folks if they need to. Events and insurance, hometown celebration, We do the fireworks parade, lunch, stage, music, kids, games, et cetera. We're expecting about a $35,000 cost this next year. Miscellaneous events, we have 2,000 in there. That's for the city, that for the trunk or treat that we see over, it's not really a city event, but it's a trunk or treat that's over here at the, what do we call that? The Star Barn over there, that we take part in and chamber events. And then also we have insurance that we pay to ICRIM for our city's insurance, about 10,000 on there. Subscription and fees. These are all necessary items. Archive social is very important because everything that gets put on social media has to be archived as a public record. And that's what that unit does. And we have Gov Office, that is our website, American Legal, Sterling Codifiers. And there's going to be a big expense this year with them to recodify all of our new codes that we updated this year. And we're waiting till we finish up the first few chapters, which should be coming out here pretty quick before we send that in. Idaho codes, it's Matthew Bender. Those are the code books, and they update every year. We have an alarm system, Office 365. Dude Solutions, that's quite the name to have, right, as a business, Dude Solutions. It's our building department platform. Right now it's at $6,200. We're actually going to, I just had a conference call today with Barbara and Meredith with them, and that cost is probably going to go up to about $13,000 once we get everything online. And we're going to do that in lieu of hiring somebody because we could streamline the process for about a third of the cost of hiring somebody. So we're going to look at that. Elevator inspections, we have Terminex cleaning contract and our Xerox copy machine with all the copies and printouts that we have to pay for. So what do we got? $50,000 in subscription and fees. Professional services, public information officer on contract for $30,000. Our Keller Associates is $69,240. That's the engineering services that we have. That's typically a pass-through expense to developers that have to pay that back. Most of that back, not all of it, but most of it back. IT services at $15,000. Transportation services contract at $3,000. Our auditor at $5,200 for about $122,000 in professional services costs. And then these are all the professional dues that we have. We have Western Alliance for Economic Development, it's $9,000. That's an organization we joined this year to help us with our economic development. We're going to give them a shot for a year and see how this goes and see what kind of performance they can help us with getting some commercial properties here. Ada County Emergency Management, Association of Idaho Cities, Boise Valley Economic Partnership, Compass, all of these guys listed on here are all different partners that we have here in the Valley that we're all part of. And we have PR marketing and committees. So on the public relations side, we have about $5,000 we're budgeting for that. Our various committees, we put $2,000 as a budget for them for literature, different things like that to perform their duties that we're asking them to do between the Transportation Committee, Beautification Pathways, Economic Development Activities, and Mayor's Youth Council. Utilities and land bond use returns. Here's our utility costs. Telephone, $16,000. Waste management, $3,500. Our power, $17,500. Street lights, $1,000. That's when we have to fix some of those. Natural gas, $3,500. Irrigation shares, $2,600 for about $44,000. And this is that pass through for that bonds on the other side on the income. That was $1,000. It's $1,000 here. So that's going to be the same that you're going to see as we move forward. Impact fee proportionate share. You can see that here again. This is the difference in figure for Star Fire at $216,975 versus at the 220 something that was on the other side. So the total impact fee proportionate share pass through is $1,048,200. Building expenses. So on the building expenses, where we had the building permit fees and the inspection fees on the other side, the building inspector, based on the contract we have, gets 60% of the income for the first $100,000 and 40% of the income remainder from the plan review and inspections. So that's about $3 million out of that cost. The electrical inspector, plumbing inspector, and mechanical inspector are at 60% of income from the plan review and inspections. So our total building expense is about $471,000, which is typical, is right. It's all paid for based on the permits and stuff that come in. On the recreation side, the sport expenses, $54,859. They're going to be equal to or less than the income for the sporting activities. So it can include equipment, field rentals, restrooms if we need them, coaches, referee costs, uniforms, league fees, etc. Class and activities, same thing at $28,000 for about $82,917 in expenses. Parks development. So this is money that's going to be utilized out of our park impact fee account. Blake Haven Park, we're planning on doing some sidewalks and ADA upgrades and fixing the flooding issue that we have right there at the curb by the restroom. Hunters Creek Park, we're going to improve the area between the baseball fields and make it ADA compliant with concrete and ramps. And we're also going to do playground equipment out there, about $275,000. Excuse me, the 960 South Main Park, which is the Huron River Park that you were talking about, Denise, earlier. We're planning to spend about $500,000 of park impact fee money when we get to that point for docks, trails, natural grass, and pond improvements over there on that. The Pavilion Park, this is what we talked about a little bit earlier where the dog park's going. This is going to be the continued development of the park as we roll into the next fiscal year. So the total parks development amount, $5,000. And we also have future park development at Trident Ridge, West Point, and the Riverwalk potentially if we can get approval to do some little better ADA materials out there for the pathway. Land use planning, we're putting money in for land use planning at $100,000. This is part of our sub-area planning and architectural overlay planning that we're going to do here for the city. And then to coincide with that, we put in $51,000 for the transportation component of all that to help us out. Doesn't mean it's all going to get spent, but we got to have that money allocated for that for about $151,000 worth of planning. Buildings and grounds. This is where you'll see on your sheets there where it's broken down quite a bit more than what I just simplified it, I think, on here for everybody. But on the building side, we have wood surface repairs, carpet floor cleaning, repair maintenance here at City Hall, janitorial supplies, plumbing, all that kind of stuff for $48,000. On the grounds, fertilizer, seed spray, paint for sports fields, trash receptacles, etc. Equipment, tools, repairs, maintenance uniforms, including safety apparel, landscaping. So that comes out to about $187,730. Animal control, we're required by state to have animal control in our city. It's too expensive to utilize the Idaho Humane Society. It's way expensive actually to use them. And so we utilize Star Veterinary Clinic right across the street on a contract basis of $16,800 per year. And then we have some whatever miscellaneous expenses may come in at $1,000 and COVID related expenses at $1,000 for $18,800. On our law enforcement side, we are going to increase our law enforcement coverage by adding one more detective. Currently, we have a pretty good gap in property crimes not being investigated the way they should be because of the number of people crimes that have increased in this valley. So we're going to have one chief, two detectives by adding one more detective to handle property crimes and 6 deputies. And I think they do a fantastic job. And the beauty about our law enforcement contract is we have the disposal of the entire sheriff's office at any time if we need it out here in Star, which is fantastic. Oh, did I hit the wrong button? I did. On our capital side, we are going to look at automating all of our city hall files. We have 22 years worth of paper in lots of file cabinets and such here. And so we are going to automate that so they're available for citizens and for anybody really that want to see that at a quick glance. We're going to try to utilize COVID funds to pay for that if we can. If not, because the COVID side, it's all about not touching and doing stuff, right? So if you don't have to fumble through paper and all that, if we can make it all automated, you can look at it on your own personal device. We're going to look at refurbishing the access stairs here that are right here on this side. If you go out there and look at it, you can see that they're rusting. That's not a healthy thing. We got to get those things fixed. When the Pavilion Park comes online, we're going to look at another zero-turn mower. We're going to get a radar speed check station. Radar speed check stations. You guys, did you see the radar speed check station we had sitting out front when Chief brought it? It provides all sorts of cool data and information, and it's a way for people to see what speeds they are going down through our town, and it could be deployed anywhere if we have a problem area here in our city. We're going to get laptops for all of our employees here that are in the main office. That's money is going to be reimbursed through the CARES Act because if we do get shut down at any point, then we can continue operations from home if we have to with that. We're looking at a top dresser for leveling our fields, a recreation cart for Ron and Kim, security cameras for the park facilities. We're starting to see a little increase, in my opinion, in some vandalism out there. So we want to try to head that off with these security cameras if we can. Looking at a walk behind aerator and some new PCs, firewall, and a PoE switch. That was from my IT guy. I don't know what a PoE switch is. You know what a PoE switch is? Port of entry? I don't know. Power over what? Oh, power over Ethernet. Okay, switch. Buildings in general at 1,000. So we have what, 152? $152,000 in capital on there. Signs, we put 5,000 in, some streetlights repair maintenance at 5,000, and our inter-fund transfer. So when we pull money to start the year off at $400,000. So our total expenses are $6,092,000. That wasn't bad for 44 slides, not very long, right? All right. So that portion of our budget is done. We're going to do some public testimony regarding the budget. If you would like to come up and speak, even if you didn't sign up, if you want to come up and speak, you're more than welcome to. We don't have a lot of people in here tonight, so, okay. So we'll start with Miss Teresa. And hold the microphone down, please. Oh, wait a minute, I gotta.
You don't want me drinking out of your bottle. Teresa Tinsley, 10459 West Achilia. I didn't want to break it.
No, you won't break it.
Okay. Well, I've been looking over the budget for days. And I just wanted you to know that I wanted to thank you all because I can see all of the thought and work that you've put into the budget. And the way you have broken it down as opposed to the way it used to be is amazing. It just makes it so that we can all see the big picture and see where the money's actually going. And I do appreciate that. And I know that I've been very critical in years past in these budget hearings. And I know you all get excited when you see me come up. So, but I promise I only have a couple of questions this year.
Okay.
And my first question is there an inventory of all the tools and equipment in the maintenance department?
There is not a good inventory, but part of the budget this year is to get an inventory tracking software for it.
Yes, I saw that.
And that was at the request of Bob to do that. So they can track those items. Because I know your questions are, what do we have and why do we keep buying this stuff? And I have the same question too. So that's going to be an important aspect of that department going forward.
Well, I noticed that you have $18,000 budgeted for tools for next year. And when I looked over my paperwork from last year, I didn't have a complete transaction of all of the money that was spent for tools last year, but I did have them from October until July of 2019. And I added up $11,843 worth of tools just for those months. And I guess my question is, and I know that the tools are a very small portion of the budget. I mean, you know, $30,000 is no big deal, except when is enough small tools enough?
Well, that's, can I answer your question?
Sure.
Okay, so when we're looking, so you're looking at the 438.4 line, right, with tools, and that's where you came up with your 18,000?
Mhm.
Okay, so we got 6,000 in hand tools, 500 in park inventory software, 5,000 in rental equipment, and 6,500 in power tools. And this is a question that we have had as well on the tool side. I think it's important that we get this park inventory software in place so we can track what we have more than, I mean, it's hard to say right now, but when, I don't know when's enough's enough, to be honest with you, to ask you the question until I can actually see what we truly have and what they're being used for, right?
Exactly. And so I guess my next question is, when can I expect to see a complete inventory of the maintenance department?
Well, if this gets approved, this goes in effect October. So we'll have to get the park inventory software at that point, and then start doing inventory with that. And then I got to see what that entails, that software first, before I can give you a true answer, but I'll get back to you on it.
Can I expect it by the end of the year?
Oh, yeah, I would think so. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm just not going to say 2 weeks or
Oh,
or
no,
anything
I
like that.
wouldn't expect that.
But that gives us 90 days to look at that.
Mr. Mayor, if I could suggest maybe one full quarter so we could get at least some portion of a rotation that might be occurring. Also, it might be something that increases in the summertime when more hand tools are being used versus the winter.
Correct.
But I think you get a pretty good start
Yeah.
in one quarter.
It's just
We'll find
all
out.
of
what we have.
all of the
Mr.
money
Mayor?
that's been spent. I personally know that when Todd was the maintenance person, he had no tools. And I don't expect Bob not to have tools to do his job. But Bob does not have any more to do than Todd did.
Actually, he has quite a bit more than Todd.
What would that be?
Yeah, we're doing quite a bit more items than what Todd did. I was really involved with Todd at the time. Todd focuses time on Hunters Creek, and that's pretty much it. And Bob and his crew are working on all the Riverwalk, Blake Park, the maintenance facility. I mean, they maintain the facilities as well. So there's quite a bit more that's going on than when Todd at that time frame. And that was 5 years ago, I think, right?
It was 5 years
Yeah.
ago. You don't have any more parks than you did then.
I think we have more developed in the park than we did then at that
You
time.
have no more grass.
No, and that's fine. I get that. But at the same time, I mean, to be fair, if we can actually get that park inventory software in place and we can track that so we can answer your question, because we really can answer your question. We've never been able to answer that question on there before. So
And okay, I'll give you that. But you have 3 maintenance people that are paid year round, is that true?
correct.
And okay, they didn't have any software to do an inventory. You know, before software came along, they did it.
I get it. But at the same time, if you give me an opportunity to get that going,
I would love for that.
I'll give you the info, I promise,
Okay.
on there.
All right. Now, one of my questions was about the capital that was listed on the budget, but there was no breakdown. But I saw your PowerPoint had that, and Do you think I could get a copy of that?
Sure. Yeah, you want the whole presentation?
Sure.
Yep, I'll send it all to you.
So that answers that question.
Yeah.
One question I have in the building budget, 438.11. There is $5,000 for wood surface repair and maintenance.
Mhm.
There was $5,000 last year. Is this like a contract?
No. No, there's times when we're gonna have to resurface any of the wood fascia or fix wooden posts, things like that on there. I think they spent some money on the park at Riverwalk this year on the post and pole items there. Mhm. Yeah, the fence. Sorry.
Okay. And then on line item 419.61.
419?
419.61. Maintenance and repair of the buildings.
Mhm.
I got off of the transaction detail a check that was written to Winters Electric for replacing bulbs for $527.
Oh, the old, okay, not on the new
Yeah,
one.
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah, this is off of the transaction detail that I got from the city. And it was written, the check was written out in May 26th for $527 to replace bulbs to Winters Electric. Why are we paying people $500 to replace bulbs?
let me look at it and see if it was a new ballast or something that had to be replaced. I don't know. I can't recall what that cost was on there. It's not just, sometimes it's not just as simple as coming and replacing a bulb. It may be replacing an entire ballast system and stuff like that
Okay,
on there.
all right. Okay, well, I told you it'd be short and sweet this year
Well, thank you.
because I really do appreciate what has been changed.
So we're gonna, when the employees turn in their expenses, they're gonna turn them in based off of their line items this year.
Yes,
And so we're gonna be able to track this.
yeah.
And they've taken ownership in this, which is fantastic, because they're excited
as
about
they
this.
should,
Yeah, as they should.
And
right?
should have in the past.
Yep. It's a new sheriff.
Yes, and I do appreciate that. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.
Miss Denise?
Denise Van Doren, 11071 West Frost. I want to echo what Teresa said in terms of the format of the budget. It is so great, really appreciated. I do have a couple of questions. So how do you handle, and this is just more really for my information, how do you handle the incoming money from the fire department when it's not indicated? I didn't see it indicated in the budget anywhere. So how do you,
You mean for the park impact fees?
no, the quit claim deed, you said there's going to be 1.8 coming in from,
So that's gonna go into, it's probably gonna go on in this current year, it's probably gonna go in the miscellaneous fund, which is really gonna shoot that one
okay,
up
so
quite a bit.
so how do you do that? Do you have to reopen the budget in
Mhm.
order to?
No,
We don't.
because the miscellaneous is already there and it's income being received.
Okay,
So we don't have
Yeah.
to, we don't have to reopen that. Now, if we were to spend it, like when we took the money out, a year and a half ago, we had to reopen it, had to.
Did you?
Yeah, back in that December to add that in.
okay,
I think that was in 2018
yeah,
for that.
okay.
Yeah.
That was really more just for my own information,
Yeah.
how that all works. And then I guess it's kind of the same question then when the COVID dollars come in, same thing, you just kind of put
With
those in the budget?
What they're saying, we have to have a spot for it on our budget. So
Correct.
that $1,000 that we're putting in there is a hold
Right,
place.
right. So you've got a line item.
So we have a line item.
Right.
So if it's, the expenses are higher and the income comes in, it should balance itself out with that, right, on there. because it's going to be COVID related. On the income side, you're going to
Right.
have, let's say you spend $20,000.
Oh, I see, in out, so you don't have to worry. Okay, got it. Got it. Okay. And then this question I've had for a long time and I always forget about it. Republic Services comes every year and they do their presentation. I've seen it many times. And so they have an increase in fees every year. And so, and now I understand that Star gets 8%, correct?
8% of the revenue.
Of the
from
revenue,
Star,
right.
yeah.
And so is that ever challenged? Because it just seems like it's more just some symbolic. They come up to say, once again, this is just a procedural thing that I'm just curious about.
So as far as challenge, as far as their increases go?
Yeah, why do they do that? Do they have to do that just to say there's going to be an increase? They have to kind of announce it to you, or is it something that you have to approve?
I don't think we have to improve the increase. It's in this is the way our contracts went. We approved the contract this last year
Right.
with Republic. I
And-
do know that the issues Republic has had is with Ada County landfill and the increase in cost with Ada County landfill.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm not worried about that. I just was more curious about whether or not it's just a presentation to say this
I
is
think it's
what
just a
we're doing.
presentation,
Okay.
but just so I get like, so they are actually looking at trying to take in our previous contract, if for whatever reason it said all landfill from Star had to go to Ada County,
Mhm.
right? Well, that pigeonholed them. Well, we removed that in this current contract that allows them to shop that out. I don't care where my trash goes, as long as we can get a fair rate for our citizens for it,
Right.
right?
Sure.
And so they have the ability now to bring those rates down. And they did give us like a $9,000 rebate check this
Mhm.
year to the city on top of that fees that we were
Right,
collecting
right.
there.
That
So-
9,000, I do this solid waste. So the 9,000 is because they've gone as green as possible.
Right.
That's every one of their trucks right now is natural gas.
Mhm.
And they want to modernize their fleet to be completely electric. I think it's in 5 or 10 years.
Hmm.
And so that's a federal government return that they get. And they've decided instead of just pocketing the whole thing, they share it with their customers. So they give it to the
Yeah.
cities. That's what that
No,
is.
and I'm not challenging
And
any
yes,
of it.
that is a
Make no
presentation
mistake.
thing
Yeah.
they do to look,
Right.
PR
Okay.
stuff.
Okay, so I noticed also that there's the code enforcement position there's not
It's a position that we're gonna hope to fill in the future. It's a $0 right now. We're hoping with this planner 2 position that we can utilize them for code enforcement as well.
okay.
But we have to see how that goes before we present a budget with that code enforcement position there in the future as a separate position, right?
Right.
So I want to play with this a little bit with this planner too, and just kind of feel that out before I start adding staff if we don't
Got
have
it.
to
Okay.
on there.
All right. Just curious. And then, okay. The big question for me is the building inspections. The building inspector is budgeted to make $300,000 next year. This year it'll be more, I'm assuming. I guess okay, so what I did was I took your 275 number of permits, and how many visits does that?
So it's not, the problem is you can't figure it with the 275 number. It's more of a number that we're using where the trends are
I understand.
because of the costs.
Right, well,
right?
sure, but
Yeah.
you have to have a number. And so,
Right.
I mean, I'm assuming that you base the 300,000 on the 275, right?
No, it's based off of, on the income side, on the building, it's gonna be about, we're anticipating about $700,000 of income coming in.
I know,
on
but
that,
what did you base that on?
based
building
off the
permits.
trends.
Building,
Not building permit trends, but dollar volume trends that have come into the city based off of building permits, because the cost of the different permits and the plan check fees are all different. They're not the same because it's all based off the size of the house or the size of the commercial.
right, yeah, I
building,
understand
right?
all that.
So,
Yeah.
so there's not a way to do that with the 275 number. The 275 number was used with your impact fees, for your ACHD fees, those things like that. That's the
Okay.
275 number,
All right, so the revenue, the 700,000
right?
is not based on,
Not the 275 number.
wow, okay. All right, so I don't really understand that, but that's okay. The point being, have you considered making that a staff position?
So I asked,
money.
I just got the contract. So I wanted to look at what the contracts say first and look at that. it's possible that it may be beneficial.
of
for
money.
it, but at the same time, we may have to adjust our fees because our fees are supposed to be not, we may not be able to leave if we can drop that cost down to, let's say $65,000 for an inspector plus all their benefits and all that on there, right? Our fees may have to get adjusted down accordingly with that because our fees are based off of what the cost is of doing business on there.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different dynamics, I think, in there. And I've started that because I asked for the contracts for all 4 of our inspectors on there. So I
Right.
can look at that and see why is there a disparity, a difference in the building inspector side versus the electrical inspector side.
Well,
on
that's
the
what I was going back to.
60/40s and things like that.
Yeah,
So-
but a building inspector should be going there 4 times,
Sure,
right?
right.
So
There's more expense, but
electrical doesn't. So,
it's also
but
negotiation.
I would say so. I would be curious, has anybody done any research with other jurisdictions?
No,
Just see
there's-
how they handle it?
There's several cities still in the valley that do the contract side of the business. Several have they've changed recently on that too. So I haven't done all the research on that. So
Right.
I will look at that too.
Yeah,
'cause
and I don't begrudge anyone making any money, but it's a lot. That's all I'm saying. So.
it is a lot of money.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And I believe I am all done.
But I would like to sit down with you sometime and go over that 275 number with this and where the thought process is. I just want to, just so we understand, so you understand where we're coming from. on that.
Yeah, I am always interested in becoming a little more educated about the process. So it just doesn't, I just don't know how you come up with, if you're basing your revenue on a building permit, it's whatever, $18,000, let's just say,
Mhm.
and 2,000 goes here, 3,000 goes there, so forth and so on. Well, you've got to come up with, how you come up with that has to be based on permits.
There's a whole formula though, based on that number. So we can sit
Okay,
down.
yeah,
and
I
talk
would
about
love
it.
to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate it.
that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Really?
Denise.
That was awesome. I love it. Yes. Does anybody else want to talk? Come here and state your name and your address for us, please.
I'm Daphne Sosa and I live in 12596 West Kempshire Court. I just want to start by saying I'm really glad of the statement that you put out about the police and being a sanctuary city for having guns, for being able to keep what we have. And I have been blessed by the police here for many years. Even a bike stolen have been returned and find out who stole it. A kid that I thought I lost, it was supposed to go to another friend's house, and the whole police was helping me trying to find this kid that was just playing in another house. So I just want to tell you, thank you so much for supporting what the people want, that we want to be protected and protect ourselves. My sister lived in Puerto Rico and she said, I don't know in what world you live. Like because I was telling her that I have come here, I have talked about things and you guys have listened, things have been done. And I have told her I can send an email, I can state my opinion, I can email my city council, I can email people in Boise, in the capitals and things like that. And she was just thinking that I was in La La Land. So I just wanted to come here and tell you, thank you for helping us keep the way we're living. It's way different than many other places and some people can't even believe it. So thank you for helping the police and for adding one more person to help us with the things we need to have. And my other questions were, those inspectors that she was talking about, are those home inspectors too?
Yeah, they're home and commercial both. They do both.
Those inspectors go in the crawl space and check for water? If you know?
It's more on the building yet. It's not new construction.
Yes, but all the houses around my house had water problems. And some houses that have been built behind my house already have a little water problems. So I remember I emailed a long time ago, somebody from the city just checking, can you please talk to the builders and check that they're building places that are not gonna make us sick? So it's a problem and they said it's the high water table, but I don't know, I just hear things like a ping pong ball. So I just wondering if moving forward, those inspectors can for sure check those new home construction,
Yeah.
then it'll be great for us as
Let me get your contact
of
info
owners.
too,
All right.
and I'll check on that. just to verify exactly
Yeah.
what they're doing on those, and then we can get back to you on that.
Yeah, I work
Absolutely.
for cleaning for new home construction
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and nobody want a surprise of brand new house that already have water problems. Or that after you have water problems and they started after people build next to you a little higher,
Right.
they said it's the water table.
Right.
So it's kind of the mountain that was built or something like that. So just wondering if that was something that was checked. I'm really grateful about everything you said today. You said you can send her a copy of the PowerPoint. Is that gonna be online?
Yeah, so Councilman Key just asked me to post it online too, so we're gonna post it online
Perfect.
as well, so you can see it.
That's great. So everybody will have that.
We'll put it on the Facebook page. I mean, that seems to be a really quick way to get to people too. so.
Perfect. And then I was wondering, in the funds for the dog park, is that dog park gonna have a fence?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's not gonna be
And-
like the one that's over on Floating Feather right now.
Yeah, it's like my dogs cannot be there.
Right. I know it'll have a fence, and the plan is to have a large dog part of it and a small dog part of it.
That's wonderful. Perfect. And then my other question was, I have never been in the beautification meetings, but do you have funds there already between that beautification committee and between the other part on landscaping? Do you have funds to add more trees to Star? A lot of funds?
Like trees?
Yes.
Like in neighborhoods and stuff?
No, not in the neighborhoods, because the builder seems to be just putting whatever is barely minimum required. Like I used to, I'm just saying, when I go to Hillsdale, my way back, I used to be green and beautiful. Now you just see stuff. So I was just wondering if we can add more trees in the areas that belongs to the city, that are common areas, maybe it can be a new trend or something.
So we actually updated our city code here this year that increased the number of trees in developments and the types of trees. So yeah, so we have taken steps to do that as far as on the private side, when they build these subdivisions, they have to add more trees to these subdivisions. Now, on the other side, in our parks and stuff, sure, I mean, we can always look at more trees. It's just, we gotta look at the function of those parks too, right?
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
so-
And I just mean like trees anywhere, and I can help move volunteers to plant those trees and anything that you need help with.
I'll have you get with Miss Jennifer right here.
Yeah, years ago, and we had a sore spot across from Star Elementary, and a group of people went there, and I was there with my little kids weeding, and it was great. You know, it was a nice activity. I also participated in the community garden that was where the food truck is right now. It was a sore spot and it became a garden. So I'm willing to help with whatever you guys
Cool.
need to make the place more beautiful. It's just sad to come down from Hillsdale and see tough roofs, like rooftops, you know, instead of trees and things like that. Like in our subdivision part, the trees are just, I think they were donated. They're kind of sad trees, what we have in our area.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just want to
Can I have you
thank
spell
you.
your first and last name for me?
It's DAPHNE. Last name SOSA.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Thank
Mhm.
you.
So thank you for what that you're doing and for always welcome us here, and yeah, just
You bet.
want to,
Appreciate
you
you
know,
coming. And
we're
then I'll
grateful
have
for
Miss
you.
Jennifer get with you
all right.
after it's
I'll
over,
stick
so,
around.
okay. Anybody else? All right. Hearing nobody else wanting to speak at the public hearing, we're going to declare that hearing closed for the budget.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Keys?
would you mind just briefly going through the numbering system and why that's changing this year?
So we modified this numbering system to fall more in line with the accounting principles and stuff that are out there with Association Idaho Cities. And so we can be more, and we added to it a little bit actually, so we could be more, I guess, responsible with the budget here for the city and provide people with our exact costs and incomes here. Did I answer your question? Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, all right. All right, so council, you have any deliberations or chats, talk, discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I just want to say, I think a lot of effort's gone into this. I really like the breakdown of this budget. I like the fact that each line item holds an accountability. And also the one area at the tools. Yeah, I remember we did question that. We weren't totally sure, but it looks like we got a good resolution. We'll find out what the inventory is and we'll have a start from there to see where it needs to go. I think we should pass this thing.
Okay.
Pass it to somebody else.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Keys.
ever since I've been on the council, I know we've been on a journey to bring more and more transparency to the budget. And I think that what you've done with the budget that you brought to the council this year is, just another step up. And I really appreciate your leadership in doing that. I echo what Councilman Hershey says. I think that we put a lot of thought in this budget, and I think we should pass this thing.
Okay.
Yes, I thank you for all of your hard work and your presentation. I've been to these council meetings in the past as a citizen, and your presentation, I think tonight was very helpful. And I would highly suggest putting that on the website if we do approve this tonight. We have put a lot of work into this during a few workshops. And I have learned a lot during this process. I feel very comfortable with this, and I am also very excited to support and move forward. Thank you.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Keys.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the 2020-2021 budget.
I second that.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. That budget for 2020, 2021 has passed. We're on to item 6B, the resolution 20-03 reserving the foregone amount.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Keys.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt resolution number 20-03, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Star, Idaho, reserving the foregone amount for fiscal year 2021 for potential use in subsequent years as described in Idaho Code 63-802 et al.
I'll
And
second.
We got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
You got a third, basically.
I just want to say that we're reserving $0, just to clarify that, in our allowable foregone amount. Okay, so hearing no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, hearing none opposed, all that motion carries. Item 6C, resolution 20-05, quit claim deed.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Hershey.
after you fix the formatting in it,
It's not a quick claim, it's quit.
it needs a few tweaks in the formatting department. I'll point them out later. But I propose that we pass resolution number 20-05, quit claim deed, a resolution to the City of Star, Ada, in Canyon Counties, Idaho, authorizing the execution of a quit claim deed for property located at 1165 West State Street, to the Star Fire Protection District, authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to execute such deed on behalf of the city and providing an effective date.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, hearing none opposed there, all that resolution passed. Okay, we're on the reports. Item 7. Chief, do you have any reports there, sir?
Mayor, Council, Jake Vogt, Chief of Police here in Star. I just wanted to update, last time I spoke, we talked about the cleanup at the Riverwalk. And so that's going to take place next Tuesday. They're going to have a crew come out. We're going to coordinate with Bob. And they're going to get basically the Riverwalk and all that's down there get cleaned up and stuff. So just wanted to update the council and mayor.
Awesome, thank you.
That's the crew that's doing the work hours.
Yes.
So that counts for work hour credit, asking for a friend?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Asking for a friend.
So that is all.
All right, thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir. Councilman Hershey?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, my report is very brief. The fire department meeting is next week, and I have a feeling it's going to be just a dial-in and only passing their bills. However, when it does open to the public, check out the new fire station. It's great. Food bank's going well. Like I said, we're getting some good donations, and the solid waste committee has just gone into limbo until COVID's over. It's really into my report. Thank you.
Cool. Councilman Keys.
Mr. Mayor, in the spirit of brevity, I think I will defer to the comments I made when I gave the committee report.
Okay.
For this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Jennifer.
I have nothing new to report from last week, but I do
That's true, we
want
gave it
to
last
state that I know that the decision to cancel hometown was very difficult, and nobody wanted that to happen, but I am 100% in support with that decision. So thank you for making that difficult decision.
Thank you. And I just so everybody's aware, the 960 Main bid is this Thursday at 2 o'clock here at City Hall. Next Monday, we should have a contract in place for you guys to approve the bid and the contract so we can move forward on that project with a goal of having it done in 90 days on there. So, all right, with that said, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Thank you, Chris.